Hello everybody, welcome to Hannover Messe. I'm Anton Tomasi and I'm pleased I will be speaking about process electrification today. And that's very important because every step today when it comes to decarbonization matters. When it comes to producing green energy, to transporting this energy in a sustainable way, or even to distributing it. Effectively, and you have seen some of those numbers in the past, but in 2022 we reached another record high. And if we want to tackle the climate change and to mitigate it or to manage it, this is what we have to tackle. 25% of those emissions are considered coming from the industrial sector. So there is, and this is where we can act. On those 25%, we consider that there is 20% out of it, the energy which is consumed is coming from electricity, which means that there is almost 80% out of it that are not coming from electricity, so there is a lot of untapped potential there. And that's the problem. This is a problem of business continuity. Effectively, and in our current economic landscape, with, let's say, inflation or in some geographies, the price increasing, you want to make sure that your business will be continuing. We have some example of companies that have stopped because of pricing the productions, but that you cannot do that in all sectors. You must continue to produce. So what can you do for that? At Schneider Electric, we consider that there is different ways for sure to decarbonize, but one which is the most important is electrification. And electrification is combining electrifying and digital. Electrifying because this is the most efficient way to decarbonize. This is the most stable as well. And digital because with digital, you are making the invisible visible, which means that you can measure it. And when you can measure it, you can act basically. The combination of the two, this is what we call electricity 4.0. And all on those 20% that are currently there and those 80% that are untapped, data are showing that almost 50% of those can be electrified. 50% in two major categories. Motion, electricity in motion, we are speaking about pumps, compressors, or on the other side, the second category will be electrification of heat, furnace, steam boiler. I can give you some example. A furnace in a steel plant, or it can be in a garage painting heat. So heating coming powered by fuel can be switched to electricity. So those are the main ones that we'll be focusing when we want to decarbonize using electrification. And this process electrification will bring more when it's approached in a holistic way. Because, as I said, we electrify, number one, and we digitize, number two. So we will have better efficiency on the electrical process with better control because of the digitization that will have an impact on your OPEX side, because you will be able, let's say, to have to measure and to act, let's say, in a predictive mode and to anticipate. That will also be able for you to participate in grid flexibility. If you have, let's say, some requests for peak shaving, for load shedding, on those kind of things, with the digital part, you will be able also to act. So the electrification is not just only to electrify some assets, it's really, again, to have, let's say, a better digitization on it. For Schneider Electric, effectively with all our expertise, we are present in some of the largest sectors today, whether it's mining, oil and gas, utilities, where we have already applied those methodologies and where we were acting on those fields. Let's go a bit deeper and let's say practically what we are doing in terms of methodology. So when we want to electrify, when we want to do some electrification, there is different steps to take. Obviously, you can, let's say, do some incremental steps. I want to add renewables. I want to electrify one of my assets. but you really need to have a 360 view. You need to start, let's say, with a roadmap in terms of decarbonization and electrification. What is the strategy? What do you desire to electrify? I would say this is the first step, and what's the strategy. The second step is the executability. You know what you desire to electrify, but is it really feasible? You need to have an assessment, a feasibility study, or what is, let's say, possible. And then naturally, because with technical comes a bit of finance, you need to have a viability assessment on that. What is the impact on your CapEx? What is the impact on your OpEx side? With those two, you will have the key to take a decision. And that's, I would say, this is the major steps in terms of electrification and decarbonization in your plant. The last part would be the operability, meaning that you know where you want to go and you are ready to enter, let's say, a final stage, which will be the detailed design on your process. So this is clearly the step-by-step approach to give you the key in terms when it comes to electrification. I'll give you a few examples here that are, let's say, showing really what we have done. A glass manufacturing plant. That was the first pilot in the glass industry. They wanted to have a furnace. They wanted to electrify partially the furnace to be able to use both the fuel and both the electricity. On this one, we were helping them to assess what was possible, to optimize the process on site, and then to finally to implement it. That was one of the first one. The second one, which is a gypsum plant. On this one, the challenge of the customer is that they wanted to electrify, and the feasibility was there. So they know they could do it. But the change in terms of CapEx was too high. So we discussed with them, and we did the feasibility. And then the second step, we optimize solution. We find innovative way in order to, let's say, to have a viable project and to electrify in a proper way. On this one, we were helping them to save 50% on their CapEx project, and also that has an immediate impact on their OpEx project moving forward. So that was the one. And the last one, which is a mining example for cement, one that I really like, that was how we can make a cement plant totally autonomous and ready to be off-grid. That's a geography in the world where connecting to the grid was from time to time not possible due to the loads, and they wanted to integrate renewables. That was part of their net zero plan for 2030. The idea there was to go with them and with the customer on the customer journey. We went together to see how we can select the proper renewables energy, in that solar in that case, many, to integrate it in their plant. That was the flow was going well, and at the end of the day, to make those plants totally autonomous when the time was coming. So that was on 5 sites, and by 2030, when they will be fully implemented, this company, those mining plants will be totally, let's say, autonomous on site. That's it. We are located at the back of the, just behind the stage. If you want any further information or better essays, don't hesitate to come with me and to discuss that. Else, enjoy the fair. Thank you.